It is that time now where we check in with Nebraska Extension and Market Journal Chief Meteorologist Eric Hunt. Eric, producers across the states, as we learn, hitting the fields in some places while others still gearing up to do the same thing. How are things looking as we turn to the week ahead?
Well, thanks, Bryce. Any harvest plans in the next few days are going to be delayed because of precipitation that's coming into the forecast. Complements of the this long wave trough that's been down here in the southwestern U.S. as we're moving into the central plains. That'll bring the dynamics and the moisture necessary for us to get some decent precipitation across most of the state, which we actually really need at this point. The European ensemble actually shows there's a very good chance for an inch of rain across pretty much the entire southeastern half of the state, with reasonable chance of an inch of rain out to about Broken Bow and North Platte, much less so as you get toward the northwestern portion of the state, which is unfortunate because that's probably about the worst drought conditions in the state at this point. In terms of total precipitation amounts, again, we are likely going to see an inch or more pretty much everywhere south and east of Valentine, with the potential for maybe upwards of 2 to 3 inches of rain across portions of east central and southeastern Nebraska. Now, again, this could be a little bit overdone, but I do think we are going to see a pretty good chance of picking up at least an inch or two of rain across a large portion of Nebraska in the next 48 hours, which is very good news. That's very good news because we are seeing things continue to get worse on the drought monitors. We now have 35% of the state in drought. An additional 45% of the state roughly is in abnormal dryness. And without this precipitation, we're going to see more of this yellow turn into browns in the next couple of weeks. So this precipitation is vital to helping improve drought conditions. Currently, we have seen drought come up a little bit further north into southeastern Nebraska, including Lincoln. We're seeing pockets of an increase across portions of northeastern Nebraska, and we saw eastward expansion of drought into more of north central Nebraska, including more of the northwestern Sandhills, and we saw more severe drought into portions of the northwestern Panhandle. After the system comes through early next week, we should actually be relatively cool compared to average. So we've been very warm here across the state the last 7 to 10 days. So it'll be nice to actually get a little break from cooler temperatures, especially on Sunday when a lot of central and western Nebraska may not even get out of the mid-50s. Temperatures should be probably back in the 60s by Monday. And as you get to the northwestern portion of the state, I'm guessing we're going to be back in the 80s by Wednesday, and it'll be relatively warm for the end of the week. As we head toward the end of the week, though, we are looking at ridging being pretty prominent across the north-central part of the continent. Against a lot of what we've seen so far in September will be kind of coming back into play. That's going to keep things relatively warm to finish out the month. And I'm also fairly bullish on, or the CPC is fairly bullish. I'm in agreement with the CPC in terms of being pretty dry in our region for the end of the month, and probably going into the first portion of October. So again, it's very critical that we get this rainfall into the state this weekend and early this next week, as we may not have a decent chance for rain like that again anytime soon. In terms of recent precipitation, we did see some pretty good precipitation amounts from O'Neill down into Garfield and Wheeler counties. Some places did see 2 inches of rain on Monday morning. Other pockets of Nebraska picked up some decent precipitation in the last 72 to 96 hours. But unfortunately, a lot of places in the state still have not seen much rain this month, and some places in the state have not seen measurable precipitation yet so far in the month of September. Soil moisture, as a result, is very, very low across a good portion of the central U.S., with a lot of places being below the 10th percentile. Magnitude-wise, this might be a little bit overdone, but suffice to say it's very dry here across the central Great Plains and the Corn Belt. This is also being reflected by quick dry. These states with the asterisks on them are states where the USDA is projecting record corn yields. We have to kind of wonder, with the dryness here at the end of August, first part of September, if that hasn't maybe dropped down the yields just a little bit in some of these states. Soil temperatures mostly in the mid-70s to low 80s across the state. Very warm for this time of year, part because we just kind of keep hanging on the summer with temperatures Wednesday mostly the 80s to low 90s. Temperature precipitation around the last 7 days. Back to you, Bryce.